Welcome to Life Stories. Tonight, you'll step into a home where Christmas lights burn bright, laughter spills through the windows, and yet, just outside the door, love has been forgotten in the cold. This isn't a tale about strangers, it's about family. A family that looks perfect on the surface, but hides a secret so painful it threatens to tear everything apart. At the center stands one woman, caught between the badge on her chest and the blood in her veins, forced to decide whether justice or mercy will define who she truly is. What would you do if the people you trusted most revealed themselves to be your greatest betrayal? Stay with us, because this story will challenge what you believe about love, duty, and the price of silence. And now, let's step into that winter night where everything begins with a single knock at the door. Snow pressed against the windshield of my cruiser as the engine ticked like a restless clock. Maple Street lay quiet, every porch strung with Christmas lights, every window spilling warmth into the night. Dispatch had gone silent hours ago, too silent, and the guys at the precinct had tossed the same line at me, "Go home, LT, it's Christmas Eve." But home was a word that never fit right. Not since I was a kid, not since Maple Street stopped meaning safety. Tonight, I wasn't going home, I was going back. I killed the headlights half a block away. The old Ford Crown Vic groaned as I shut the door, its paint dulled by years of patrol. Breath left my lungs in white ribbons. 31 degrees, the kind of cold that gets under your skin and steals your hands, your face, your resolve. My boots crunched the yard I used to mow for pocket change. Through the glass, I saw silhouettes moving across the living room. Dad's frame still built like a wall. Mom's carefully lacquered hair shining under the tree lights. My brother Tommy mid-joke, my sister Bree laughing like the punchline had been rehearsed for her. The scene should have felt like memory. Instead, it felt like a crime scene. Then I saw her. On the porch, where the wind clawed under the eaves, sat Grandma. No coat, no blanket, just a thin sweater and house slippers, her hands trembling in her lap. For a heartbeat, I forgot how to breathe. She looked smaller than I remembered, shrunken by years and neglect. But when she turned her head, careful with the brittle weight of her bones, that smile, the one that folded time, found me. "Annie," she said, my childhood name wrapped in a voice threadbare but unbroken. I shrugged out of my duty jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. Heat bled from me into her, but her lips were pale, tinged blue. The cop in me cataloged vitals, shivering, oriented, hypothermia risk. The granddaughter in me wanted to tear the door from its hinges. "Why are you out here?" I whispered. She fluttered her hand, the gesture of someone too polite to accuse. "Fresh air," she murmured. Inside, Tommy's punchline landed, and laughter rolled through the glass. How long had she been out here? The question chewed me raw. 3 years of paychecks I had wired home for her care, meals, meds, heating bills, all of it tasting like sacrifice at the time. Tonight it tasted like ash. I slid my arms under her. She weighed less than my vest. Relief escaped her throat like a prayer. "Your mother will be cross," she whispered. "She'll live," I answered. The door resisted my hand. Locked, of course. The house that hoarded warmth kept her outside. I knocked 3 measured raps, the kind that carried authority even before the badge. Footsteps shuffled. The deadbolt slid. The door cracked open just wide enough for manners. Mom's face appeared in the sliver. Lipstick painted a holiday red that had never touched kindness. For a moment, confusion painted her features. Then recognition. Then annoyance. "Anna," she said, "not Annie. Never Annie. You should have told us you were coming." "I wanted to see Grandma." "She's resting," Mom said. "In the cold?" My words cut sharper than I intended. "She likes the porch." Her eyes flicked to the jacket draped around Grandma. Dad leaned into the gap, chin set, voice dipped in disdain. "Lose the attitude. It's Christmas." Tommy's grin faltered when he saw the tremor in Grandma's lips. Bree hovered behind them, an apology dying on her tongue. None of it mattered. My heel met the frame, and my shoulder drove through. Wood cracked. The door swung wide. Heat, cinnamon, and roast met us like a taunt. Conversation died like a candle under glass. Champagne froze midair. Stockings lined the mantel. Dad, Mom, Tommy, Bree. No stocking for Grandma. The omission screamed louder than their protests. I stepped across the threshold, the badge on my chest catching the firelight. My voice dropped cold even. Move. And they did. The wall split. Mom to one side, Dad to the other. My siblings backing up with glasses, clutched like shields. The living room shrank under the weight of silence. I heard the thermostat click. I heard Grandma's teeth chatter once, then settle against me. And in that instant, the two halves of me, officer and granddaughter, stood shoulder to shoulder and agreed on one truth. Enough. I scanned their faces, cataloging details I would write in a report I never wanted to file. Environment warm and festive. Victim found outside at 31 Fahrenheit, inadequately clothed. Family present. Signs of neglect. Funding provided by reporting party. But the granddaughter in me saw something else. A blanket fort lit by a flashlight during a summer storm. Shadows turned into stories. Fear turned into laughter. Grandma's voice teaching me the difference between love and cruelty. My throat tightened. I adjusted my hold on her and let 6 words slice the air, metallic and merciless. She's safe, elder abuse report filed. The room fractured, champagne dulled, Dad's mouth opened, closed. Mom's hand flew to her pearls. Tommy swore. Bree began to cry. The laughter, the warmth, the curated image of family. All of it shattered in the space those words created. They thought they had secrets, but the secret was mine. I had chosen tonight to come home. I had chosen to see, and I had chosen not to look away. Have you ever discovered a truth so painful it made you question the very meaning of family? What would you do if justice and blood pulled you in opposite directions? Because in that moment, as the fire hissed and my badge caught the light, I realized the real storm wasn't outside. It was about to break inside this house. Dad's glass hit the table with the weight of a gavel. You don't talk to your family like that in this house. His voice rumbled, steady at first, but I caught the crack under it, the tremor he didn't want anyone to hear. Mom's brittle smile stayed frozen, but her eyes darted everywhere, anywhere but at Grandma wrapped in my jacket. Tommy shifted, forcing a laugh that died before it could take shape. Bride's mascara streaked down her cheeks as she whispered, "We didn't mean." I cut her off. Intent doesn't matter. Impact does. The words dropped like stones. The air thickened. I felt Grandma stir in my arms, her head lifting weakly. "Annie," she whispered, her voice soft but steady, "please don't." My chest tightened. She wanted peace, even now, even after being left outside like forgotten furniture. But I had seen too many crime scenes to mistake neglect for accident. I had sworn an oath. Tonight, that oath and my bloodline were the same battlefield. Dad's jaw worked like he was chewing through years of silence. "You always were dramatic, always looking for a fight. You think you're better than us now? Because of that badge?" His finger jabbed toward the emblem pinned over my heart. Something inside me snapped. That badge means I protect the vulnerable, family or not, and you left her to freeze. The room convulsed in silence. I could hear the fire pop. I could hear the faint tick of the thermostat. I could hear my own heartbeat hammering like a drum. Then Bree broke it with a sob. "We thought you'd never know." Her words sliced through me sharper than any blade. They hadn't been careless. They had been deliberate, confident I would stay gone. 3 years of paychecks wired home for Grandma's care, siphoned into vacations, remodels, champagne, and all the while, she was out here in the cold. My throat burned with rage I barely recognized as mine. The cop in me whispered charges, affidavits, testimony. The granddaughter in me whispered vengeance, the kind that scars. And somewhere in the middle, the child I used to be remembered blanket forts and grilled cheese sandwiches and a voice that turned fear into stories. Grandma's lips trembled against my jacket. "Don't be too hard on them." Her plea struck me harder than Dad's accusations. Too hard? I had barely begun. The badge on my chest weighed heavy, but not heavier than the look in her eyes. She was asking me to show mercy to the very people who had erased her. The conflict hollowed me out in real time. Justice demanded I burn them down. Mercy begged me not to lose myself. Dad stepped forward, veins corded in his neck. "Put her down. Go back to your shift. This is family business." My laugh came sharp and bitter. Family protects each other. Family doesn't lock their mother outside while they toast themselves. My voice rose, hard and unrelenting. "This is my business now. Tommy threw his hands up. Oh, come on, elder abuse? You can't be serious. His smirk crumbled when I answered flatly, It's a felony. And yes, I'm serious. His bravado leaked out like air from a punctured tire. Mom's hand flew to her necklace, twisting until the chain bit into her skin. For the first time that night, I saw fear bloom across their faces. And then came the twist I hadn't expected. Grandma's frail fingers gripped my sleeve, stronger than I thought she had left. Her eyes, cloudy but clear with love, locked on mine. Annie, don't let anger eat you alive. Justice matters, but mercy matters more. Her words pierced straight through my armor. She had defended me my whole life, and now she was defending them. The same people who had abandoned her, the same people who had stolen the life I tried to buy back for her. Something inside me tore in two. I wanted to scream, to drag them into holding cells and let them shiver on cold benches until dawn. I wanted them to feel what she had felt, but her voice pulled me back, reminding me of nights when thunder scared me, and she whispered that storms were just the sky telling stories. How could I ignore her now? The fire hissed, the stockings dangled, the champagne dulled in forgotten glasses. My family stood cornered, stripped of their smiles, their excuses, their lies. And me, standing in the center with Grandma in my arms, I realized the true battle wasn't with them. It was with myself. Justice or mercy? Badge or blood? Which one would I let win? If you were Annie, standing in that living room with betrayal on one side and your grandmother's plea for mercy on the other, which would you choose and why? Because just as I thought I had made my choice, the phone in my pocket buzzed with a call that would turn the entire night into something none of us were ready for. The vibration in my pocket cut through the silence like a blade. I shifted Grandma carefully in my arms and glanced down. Caller ID dispatch. My thumb hovered. Dad's jaw tightened as though he could will me not to answer. I slid the line open. LT Tran, I said, voice flat. Sergeant Ruiz on the other end, steady but urgent. APS wants it logged tonight. You want me to push it through? The words struck harder than any of Dad's threats. It meant permanence. An official report. A record that could never be buried beneath champagne or laughter. I caught my family's faces as they realized what I had just heard. Mom's eyes widened with desperate terror. Bree's lips parted in a trembling plea. Tommy cursed under his breath, and Dad's voice thundered, You wouldn't dare. But I already had. I swallowed, shifted Grandma closer, and answered Ruiz. Yes, log it. The room froze. My father's power cracked in an instant, the sound of control collapsing. He stepped forward, veins taut, but one glance at the badge stopped him. He could shout, he could curse, but he could not undo what had been set in motion. My mother dropped into a chair, her hands twisting her necklace until the chain snapped. Bri covered her face and sobbed. Tommy poured another drink, but the tremor in his hand betrayed him. Grandma stirred, whispering against my chest. Don't destroy them, Annie. Her words were a plea and a wound. I closed my eyes because I had already done what she feared most. I had drawn a line that could not be erased, and yet I knew I hadn't done it out of hate. I had done it because of her, because she deserved to be safe, because love without protection is only sentiment. The drive to the precinct was silent except for the crunch of snow under my tires. Neighbors peeked from curtains, but none stepped out. They saw the badge, the old woman in my arms, and they turned away. That silence, complicity dressed as courtesy, was its own kind of betrayal. I carried Grandma inside, past wreaths on the station doors, past the smell of burnt coffee and pine air freshener. Officers looked up. No one spoke, but their nods were enough. They understood. Ruiz logged the report. APS would arrive in the morning. Grandma sat in the break room, a blanket around her shoulders, a steaming mug of cocoa in her hands. For the first time in years, I watched her soften under the simple dignity of being seen. Officers drifted in, calling her Grandma, sharing stories, laughing gently. She laughed too, and I realized something brutal and beautiful at once. Strangers could give her more family than blood ever had. Hours later, the phone rang at the duty desk. Ruiz called out, "It's your folks." The air thickened again. I took the handset. Dad's voice cracked across the line, sharp but desperate. "Anna, we need to talk. You can't let this stand. Do you know what this will do to us?" I answered. Yes, that's the point. Behind him, I heard Mom sobbing, Tommy cursing, Bree begging. Then Grandma's reflection in the break room glass caught my eye. She was shaking her head slowly, silently mouthing words. Don't destroy them. My chest caved with the weight of two truths tearing me in opposite directions. Justice demanded punishment. Mercy demanded restraint. By dawn, the snow lay heavy and the world felt muffled. The APS agent arrived just past noon, a woman with sharp eyes tempered by compassion. She crouched in front of Grandma, asking questions gently, noting weight loss, bruises, neglect. Every answer drove the nails deeper into the coffin of the family I had known. When she finished, she promised investigations, home visits, financial audits. Charges were possible. The house on Maple Street would never look the same again. That evening, the break room glowed with warmth. Pizza boxes and paper cups cluttered the table. Officers treated Grandma like one of their own. She told a story about me at age 6, parading around in her glasses declaring myself chief of police. Laughter rippled through the room, echoing against the station walls, and for a moment I saw her alive again, not as a victim, but as the woman who had shaped me. I leaned back against the wall, arms crossed, and felt a strange ache in my chest, pride and grief woven together. Later, I helped her settle into the wellness room, the blanket tucked tight, her face pale but serene. She caught my wrist before I could pull away. Annie, she whispered, I've never been prouder of you. Not for the badge, for your heart. My throat closed. You always believed in me, I said. She smiled, faint but unshaken. And you proved me right. That night, when the station quieted and snow fell soft as ash, I sat alone in the break room, head in my hands. I whispered into the silence, she's safe. This time it wasn't an accusation. It wasn't a threat. It was the truth. Back on Maple Street, the house cracked under the weight of fear. Dad pacing like a caged bull, Mom wringing her hands until the skin broke, Tommy raging, Bree weeping. Their champagne parties, their laughter, their curated perfection, it had all collapsed under 6 words that would haunt them forever. She's safe. Elder abuse report filed. Their punishment wasn't prison bars. It was guilt, unraveling them from the inside. On New Year's Eve, the station gathered again. Someone had strung lights around the break room doorway. Officers toasted with paper cups. Grandma sat at the center, a paper crown on her head courtesy of Daniel's. She caught my eye across the room, mouthed 2 words, thank you. My throat ached. I knelt beside her, eye to eye. For what? I asked. She smiled softly. For giving me back a family. Tears burned my eyes. You never lost me. She squeezed my hand. I know, but now I know I'll never be alone. When midnight struck, cheers rose, and I stepped outside for air. Snow swirled golden under the street lamps. Behind me, laughter carried through the walls, not the hollow laughter of Maple Street, but something real, something earned. I thought of my parents, my siblings, drowning in their guilt. I thought of Grandma inside, glowing in the center of strangers who had chosen to love her. Justice and mercy had walked side by side that night, and for the first time in years, I felt peace. Driving home, Grandma asleep in the passenger seat, her face softened, her breathing steady. I whispered to the night, she's safe, and the words finally were not burden or threat. They were a promise. What did this story make you feel mostly, anger, sorrow, or hope? If you like the story, comment 100 below. Tell us which country you're watching from, and share this video with a friend who needs to hear it. Thank you for being here with us on Life Stories.